You can't tell us when we can use our own boats." That's what Karen Henderson shrieked at me on the dock that morning, her voice all twisted up with righteous fury, like she actually believed she was the sheriff of Lake Morrison. We'd been neighbors for years, but at that moment, standing there with my brand new Marina Access card in my hand and Karen's face going pale as I told her, "Actually, Karen, I can." And effective immediately, I have to admit, it felt pretty damn good. But to really get it, let me back up a sec. My name's Blake Rodriguez. 6 months ago, I was just the quiet guy in the corner house. 30-foot sport fishing boat called the Legal Eagle, decent little law practice, weekends spent on the water, out of sight and out of mind. I specialized in maritime law, waterfront rights, marina contracts, all that jazz. Most folks around here figured I was just another homeowner with a weird tan and a bigger-than-average outboard motor. No one knew I could have bought and sold the entire neighborhood, twice over, without breaking a sweat. All I ever wanted was a little peace, some quiet mornings, a cold beer, the sound of water slapping against the hull. What I got instead? A front row seat to the most over-the-top HOA power play I'd ever seen. It started one Saturday, spring rolling in, the lake all gold and glassy, and me hauling tackle onto the Legal Eagle. Cue Karen, marching down the dock, clipboard in hand, that looked like she's about to audit your soul. President for life of the HOA, more by default than by democracy, since nobody else wanted the job. She called out my name in that tone, the one that makes your skin crawl. "I need to speak with you about your boat schedule." That was how she started. She'd cooked up a new set of community-friendly boating hours. No early mornings. No evenings. No weekends. According to Karen, weekend mornings are for families to enjoy the peaceful lakefront, which was her way of saying, "I don't like looking at boats I'm not in control of." She tried to make it sound official. "The HOA has a special arrangement," she said. "We're the largest group of slip renters, so our preferences carry weight." I felt my lawyer brain kick in, running scenarios, checking facts. This was about control, plain and simple. She wanted to see if she could boss around the one neighbor who never joined in the weekly gossip fest. "I'll need to see that agreement in writing," I told her. "Karen?" She just smiled like a cat who'd swallowed a canary. "That's between the HOA and marina management. I'd recommend you don't challenge this." I stood there on the dock, listening to her tennis shoes clack away, and that old, cold anger, one I'd kept buried through years of contract disputes, started bubbling up. She didn't know she'd just poked the bear. The thing about lawyers, real lawyers, not ambulance chasers or HOA generalists, is we know how to win fights before they start. So, I paid a visit to Tom Bradley, the marina manager, a decent guy getting squeezed between the HOA and the bank. Turns out Karen's arrangement was all smoke, just enough pressure to keep Tom in line, threatening to pull 60% of his renters if he didn't comply. I read the Community Harmony Initiative. No teeth, just a bunch of polite-sounding requests dressed up as law. You know what I mean? This wasn't about noise or families. This was about Karen flexing her HOA muscles. But Tom, he had a wife who needed medication, employees he couldn't afford to lay off. He was stuck. So, I got to work. I researched the marina, checked public records, dove into debt ledgers, even visited every marina within 50 miles, just to be sure. Turns out, Tom's operation was on life support, debt up to his eyeballs, artificially low slip fees, one bad month away from bankruptcy. And that's when the idea hit me. If Karen wanted to play business hardball, fine. I'd buy the damn marina myself. I made a few calls. Patricia Wong, my go-to marine real estate broker, who knew better than to ask personal questions. Jennifer Martinez at the bank, got my financing lined up in 48 hours flat. Marcus Thompson, marina turnaround expert, ready to swoop in. And Tom. I offered him exactly what he needed to walk away with his dignity, even let him stay on as general manager. Let me tell you, watching Karen parade around for those next few weeks, strutting like she'd tamed the marina, handing out her precious boat schedule, while I worked the paperwork behind the scenes. That was almost better than catching a trophy base. Almost. When closing day hit, I posted new signs. Morrison Marina under new management. All previous agreements, schedules, and restrictions are hereby null and void. Next morning, I showed up at dawn. First real fishing trip in months, just in time for Karen to come storming down the dock, clipboard at the ready. "What do you think you're doing here at this hour?" she barked, barely even blinking at the new signage. I held up my new access card. Karen, check with Marina Management before you file any more reports. I am Marina Management now. The look on her face. Yeah, that happened. All that bluster, just draining out. You can't do this. The HOA has an arrangement, she sputtered. Not anymore, I said. In fact, I'll be instituting new policies. HOA members, weekday access only, 9 to 3, no weekends, no holidays, no exceptions. Her own schedule, right back at her. She went straight through denial to outrage, her voice echoing across the water, and as I idled away from the dock, I just smiled and said, "You wanted peace and quiet for families? Now you've got it." Word spread like wildfire. Non-HOA boaters, most of whom just wanted to fish or cruise in peace, suddenly found the marina friendlier than ever. Karen called an emergency HOA meeting and, yeah, I sat in the back, watching her lawyer stumble through arguments about binding agreements that never existed. When she opened the floor for questions, I stood up, laid out the facts, made it clear that any restrictions were legal, justified, and if anything, a direct mirror of what she herself had tried to impose. The room split right down the middle. Half the HOA wanted her to apologize. The other half wanted to fight. You could see her power melting away in real time. There was even a little picket line at the entrance the next weekend. 8 people and some sad signs. Karen announced they'd stand united against discrimination, but nobody really listened. I told them calmly they were trespassing and eventually, one by one, they slunk away. Except Karen, who left muttering about lawsuits. They did send a lawyer after me. I handed it straight to Jennifer Chun, my own legal pit bull, who sent back a 10-page demolition of every empty threat. Within a week, half the HOA was apologizing privately. The rest just wanted it over. Karen? She was falling apart. No more clipboard strut, just a tired, humbled look the next time she came to see me. And when she did, I finally saw the real person. Not the queen bee, just a neighbor who'd gone too far and was willing to own it. She apologized, and I told her what I needed. A formal written acknowledgement that the HOA had zero authority over marina operations and a public apology to Tom Bradley. She agreed, and 2 weeks later, both passed unanimously. I put up new signs. All residents welcome. Standard marina rules apply. Management reserves the right to refuse service to anyone who tries to interfere. It wasn't poetic, but it worked. And so, yeah, the legal eagle is back where she belongs. I fish when I want. Everyone else does too. Karen learned her lesson, Tom got his piece, and the community finally understood that property rights trump fake authority every time. So let me ask you, was I right? Did I go too far? Or was this the kind of justice we need more of in neighborhoods run by petty tyrants with clipboards? Let me know what you think about right and wrong, about standing up for your own, and whether community rules are supposed to serve everyone or just the loudest voice on the dock.